After a year of staying close to home, it looks like air travel is starting to take off again. The TSA says it screened more than 1.3 million people at airports across the country on Friday. That's the most passengers traveling on a single day since March 15th. Last year. More on that. We want to welcome Brian Kelley, better known as the Points Guy from the Points Guy travel website. Brian, great to have you with us this morning. So is this the beginning of a real rebound for the airline industry, do you think?
Definitely, at least in the U.S. And interestingly, yesterday, more people were screened by the TSA than a year ago prior, which is the first time that has happened since the pandemic broke out. So we're certainly seeing a huge uptick in domestic travel. I'm going to Miami at the end of this month, and flights were completely sold out. And, it's over Passover weekend. So I anticipate these TSA numbers to go well above 1.5 million per day. But we're still not out of the woods yet with so many different variants around the world, and Germany now going into a third lockdown.
Hey, Brian, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. Now, let's talk deals. Of course, what you're known for, the Points Guy. We know it's been a difficult year for the tourism business. But are you seeing any promotions out there to get people to start planning their next vacation?
Absolutely. The biggest thing that's changed over the last year is that airlines got rid of change fees. So you can book, and for any reason, you can change free of charge. Now, there might be an increase in fare. So that's reason enough, especially with your frequent flyer miles. This is something a lot of people don't realize. You can now book a trip in the future and cancel it for whatever reason you want and get your miles and taxes back. So for everyone who's been accruing their points over the last year and not traveling, book a trip for the future, and then if you can't take it, then you can always cancel it. But I always say that endorphin rush of booking a trip, it's good for your mental health.
We did that recently, not with flights, but with hotels, and it was very fun.
Yeah,
so whether we'll go, I don't know, but we'll see. Now, Brian, you've continued to travel throughout the pandemic. It's your job. What's the most surprising thing for you over the last 12 months?
It's interesting. Every country has such wildly different standards. I was in the British Virgin Islands last week, and I was one of the only people on the island because they have a very strict quarantine. I was actually able to go to the baths at Virgin Gorda, normally a crowded site, and I was the only person there. So if you have that appetite for risk and the testing, I've had some of my most amazing experiences out there. But I think what people don't realize is planes are packed. Just because the numbers are down year over year doesn't mean you're going to be on an empty plane, certainly not during the spring break and Easter travel season.
So, Brian, let's talk about that because travel is ramping back up. You just mentioned planes are packed, but health officials want everyone to remember we're still in a pandemic, and they are actually recommending not to travel right now. So what are airlines doing to keep people safe as they do get on these planes?
Look, the only airline that's blocking seats now through the end of April is Delta. So if you don't want to be on a packed plane, then you're going to want to fly Delta. Everyone else, for the most part, is selling their planes full. Emirates just came out and now says, well, you can have a seat next to you, but you got to pay for it. So I recommend to people, use your frequent flyer miles. Since business travelers aren't traveling, there are a lot of options to upgrade to that first class seat where naturally you're surrounded by a lot less people. But absolutely still wear your mask on planes. Airline service is still kind of trimmed down. So eat before you go to the airport. You don't want to be sitting around a crowded airport without your mask on. And if you really feel unsafe, wear a face shield during boarding, because that's a process where most people get into contact with each other. But in general, travel can be safe if you follow the simple precautions.
All right, Brian, great advice as always. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. We love seeing where you're going while we're all here.
Yeah.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here. And click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.